evening, Black Marriage Matters community. It's Kenyatta in for another Facebook Live. I am a therapist at Atlanta Couple Therapy, and today I want to talk about 4 communication habits every couple should practice. Now, if you are watching live, let me know where you're watching from and some of the communication habits that you have developed over the time of your relationship. If you're watching the replay, let me know that you're watching the replay and what made you click on this video. So oftentimes when couples come to counseling, they say things like, oh, well, I want to work on communication. And so for me, communication can be very broad and it has a lot of layers. And oftentimes when couples want to work on communication, there are other things that are happening in their relationship that has broken or made their communication become difficult. So if you find that you and your mate are often at odds or having a hard time relating, this video is for you. Like I said, today I'm talking about some habits that every couple can develop and should practice on a daily basis when communicating with their mate. If you're watching live, let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, let me know what made you click on this video. Rule or habit number 1 that I like couples to begin to practice is have rules and avoid the following. So having rules around communication is super important. I would say things like some rules can be that we don't argue in front of the kids, or we don't argue after we've had a long day, or I'm not going to argue or have deep conversations with you if I haven't eaten all day or if I had a headache. Those are rules. Things to avoid can be things like cursing, yelling, name calling, criticizing, blaming, interrupting, getting defensive, accusing your mate. These are just some things to avoid that often make communication very hard for couples. So, first habit is have rules and have things that you are avoiding, that you avoid doing in general. Habit number 2 is listen, understand, and validate. It's so important that we listen to our mates and really try to understand where they're coming from and then validate those feelings that we can relate to. So encourage your mate, seek to understand them and see things the way that they do, or at least try to. Empathize with them and allow their experience to be something that you can understand or you're trying to understand. Your partner's experience won't be the same as yours, and so it's important to acknowledge the fact that they have their own lives, they have their own opinions, they have their own way of looking at things, right? Acknowledge your mate's thoughts and feelings and avoid waiting to rebuttal, right? So listen, understand, validate. It's like a sequence. First you listen, then you see what part of what they're saying you can truly understand and let them know that you understand that, and then validate the feelings that they may have about it. Habit number 3, focus on the solution and not the problem. So this can become a difficult one because you may say to me, well, Kiana, the problem is the thing that we can't get past. So how can we even find a solution? And a lot of times I find that couples are often not focused on the solution. They're focused on letting their mate know how they feel and the things that have bothered them and helping their mate to understand their perspective, which is important indeed. But I want couples that when you walk into a conversation with your mate, that you have the intention on what are we going to solve or what are we going to resolve out of this? What can we get out of this conversation? What are some of the benefits? What are the things that we're going to be able to accomplish? If you're watching with me, let me know some of the communication habits that you and your mate have developed over time, or what made you hop on this video, or where you're watching from. Yes, so focusing on the solution, understanding what it is that you want to accomplish out of having this conversation with your mate. Doesn't mean that you want to spend more time with them, doesn't mean that you want to spend less money, doesn't mean that you want to go on a vacation, but what is the purpose of having this communication, especially if it's something that you guys are having a hard time resolving. And then the last habit that I want couples to begin to practice is be clear about your expectations. A lot of times I'll hear, oh, well, I wanted my mate to do this, and when they didn't, I felt disappointed. Then I'll ask, well, does your mate know your expectations? Have you let them know the things that you need from them? Have you made it clear why these are your needs and what it feels like when these needs are fulfilled? This is very important. I like for the couples that I work with to communicate their desired outcomes. What is it that you want to happen? What is it that's not happening, but what does it look like when your mate is actually doing it? And what does it make you feel like? Stay on the topic at hand and remember your mate is not the problem, but the problem is the thing that you're working to solve. So if you're watching with me, let me know where you're watching from and some of the communication habits that you've developed over time. All All right, so I'm going to do a quick recap of the 4 communication habits every couple should practice. Habit number 1 is have some rules and have some things that you like to avoid. This can be yelling, this can be name calling, this can be arguing in the car, or arguing when you have a headache or when you haven't eaten all day. Have some rules and have some boundaries around what those communication or what those conversations will look like. Number 2, listen, understand, and validate your mate. Number 3, focus on the solution and not necessarily the problem. And then number 4 is be clear about your expectations and your needs. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful. I hope to see in the comments some of the communication habits that you have developed. And if you're needing some more support, I want you to go to afteridoacademy.com, because that is our resource for a lot of couples who are having a hard time communicating what they need from their mate or getting their needs met in their relationship. We have so many trainings on communication from the world's experts. So many people coming in, relationship experts and coaches, explaining what are the benefits of communication and how couples can begin to work through these issues when it comes to them trying to get their needs met or trying to get their mate to understand something. This is a great membership. We've helped so many couples just by simply signing up for the membership, coming to the Q&As, and watching the trainings. This is your way of taking control over your relationship. So if you're finding that communication is a problem, but you're not ready to necessarily invest in counseling, this is the next step. Go to afteridoacademy.com to get more information. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be back next week with more tips and tricks on how to improve your relationship. Again, I'm Kenyatta Wheeler, a therapist at Atlanta Couple Therapy. Thank you guys for watching.